Hi, welcome back to my channel Azure Learn. Today we are going to learn about Azure Backup Service. What is Azure Backup Service? It's a simple, secure, reliable and cost-effective solution to back up the data and be able to recover it from Microsoft Azure Cloud. What can I backup? In case if you are thinking, what can I backup using this? You can backup files, folders, system state, maybe the VMs, it could be Hyper-V VMs or VMware VMs, and even other on-premise workloads. Not just that, you can backup entire Windows or Linux VMs or files and folders and system state using the backup extension in Azure or using MABS agent. You can backup Azure file shares to your storage account. You can backup SQL Server database, that means application aware backup, running on Azure VMs. In case if you are running your SAP HANA workloads on Azure, you can plan to backup that too. Okay, so how does it look like? Azure Backup Service is going to offer you a centralized management, whether you would like to do the data tiering or the recovery point management or the storage management, all that can happen from the backup service console. Then in case if you are thinking, why use Azure Backup? You can offload on-premise backups to get rid of the hardware procurement and maintenance of it. And in case if you are already onto Azure, the Azure IaaS VM's backup is seamless and integrated. You can scale it up easily, get unlimited data transfer. You can keep the data secure, and you are going to have a centralized monitoring and management capability with you. And you can plan even for your app consistent backups, even in Linux also. You can retain short and long-term data for whatever may be the duration that you are planning. You retain only to that duration and then discard after that. And automatic storage management you can orchestrate. Multiple storage options are there for you, whether you would like to have the locally redundant storage happening in the same Azure region or geographically redundant storage happening in two different regions. Coming to how do you do the backup? So backup agents are going to help you. In case if you are thinking, so agentless backup mechanism is not there. Yes, it's there for VMware environment. However, today's discussion and demonstration would be with the installable agent, that is MABS agent. To let you know the backup agents, we have two kinds of agents: MABS agent, Microsoft Azure Recovery Services agent, and then Azure VM extension. In case if your infra is in Azure, Azure VM extension is going to be there. Otherwise, for all your on-premise workloads, you would be installing this MABS agent. Okay. What are the backup types? Just to give you the overview of how the backup mechanism happens. Full backup, that means a full backup contains the entire data source. That means it takes more network bandwidth than the differential or incremental backups. Now let's understand what is a differential backup and what is an incremental backup. A differential backup stores the blocks that changed since the initial full backup. So that means it uses the smaller amount of network and storage and doesn't keep redundant copies of unchanged data. In one way, it considered to be inefficient because data blocks that are unchanged between later backups are transferred and stored. So that's the reason it is considered to be inefficient. Anyway, Azure Backup is not going to use that. Let's come to the incremental backup. So incremental backup stores only the blocks of data that changed since the previous backup, not the initial backup, previous backup. So that means high storage and even network efficiency also. So here To make it easier for you to understand, this pictorial representation gives you some clarity. On the extreme left side, what you are seeing is full backup, and in the mid, what you are seeing is the differential backup, and on the right hand side you are seeing that the incremental backup. So this incremental backup is going to be cost effective and storage sensitive. So this might help you to save costs and time and bandwidth, everything. Now let's have a look quickly onto the architecture of all the types that we have discussed. The built-in Azure VM backup, if you see that, the VM extension, the VM, that is the backup extension in the Azure virtual machines, that's going to orchestrate the backup happening to the recovery services vault. Okay, so the Azure Backup Service is going to take care of by communicating to the agent in the form of extension. It is there in your Azure virtual machine. Coming to on-premise, in case if you are trying to take the backup from on-premise, which is a typical workload, that's what we are going to do today also in the demonstration, post the discussion. Backup agent you are going to install either in the server node or in the workstation. So whichever you think that from where you would like to pick the data and back it up into Azure, there you are going to install this MABS agent and then orchestrate entire mechanism of backup. Backup to DPM, Data Protection Manager. So this is System Center component, one of the components in System Center, as you all might be knowing in case if you are associated with Microsoft ecosystem and Microsoft products. System Center has got various products, various components. System Center Configuration Manager, System Center Operations Manager, System Center Virtual Machine Manager, System Center Data Protection Manager, like this, right? So the System Center Data Protection Manager, in case if you already have, then from there all the data would come to the Data Protection Manager, and from there you would choose whether you would like to save it onto the disks locally or would like to send it to Azure. In case if you do not have that, then the backup server, Azure Backup Server, you are going to keep and then install this MABS agent into it, that is the MABS, the Microsoft Azure Backup Server, and then take it to Azure. So this is another mode in the backup that generally in an enterprise grade environment for specialized workloads, and then the virtual machines and even the files and folders and different volumes that you have for the disks, all of them could be the physical or Hyper-V or could be VMware environment. For that you might require either the System Center DPM or Azure Backup Server to be set up. Now in case if you have understood what is Azure Backup and why should you go for that, and what are all the backup components and the backup types, and then the architecture of it. Now if you are interested in costs, let's move to Azure Pricing Calculator. This is Azure Pricing Calculator. In case if you are seeing it for the first time, let me tell you, this is a freely available, publicly available, simple web-based tool, and here on the left hand side in the blades you can have the categories of services, and any of the blade that you click on the right hand side, the relevant service would be appearing. Now we are trying to discuss on the backup. So let me go to the management and governance blade here and then click on Azure Backup, and this Azure Backup I'm trying to select Central India for this demonstration. You can choose any of the region that you are interested in and then you are planning to take backup to, and choose whether you are trying to take the backup from Azure VMs or on-premise servers or clients or SQL Server on Azure VMs. For me now I am taking the on-premise servers or clients. It's asking me how many instances of servers you have. So it is one server for now I am taking, and how much amount of GB that you would like to start with. So this is the tooltip that it is saying that average front-end data size across each VM or server that you are planning to start with. So you can put maybe 20 GB or 200 GB, whichever the amount of data that you have to carry on and then start the backing up process. So let me try to put this just for an easier calculation. 20 GB I am putting, and here it's asking me what is the redundancy mode that you are looking for. LRS stands for locally redundant storage. In the same region, 2 copies. GRS, geographically redundant storage. In 2 different regions, the copies. Read access GRS. So these are very important for you to understand because this would impact on the cost of your backup also. I am trying to select here LRS for the easier calculation, and then it's asking me what is the kind of daily churn with your data, average daily churn. Okay, low, moderate, high, 3 tiers are there, and in case if you would like to know more how much percentage Microsoft is considering it as low and then moderate and high accordingly, you can check here. Less than 2% of the data churn it is saying low, or around 3 to 4% of data churn it is considering moderate, and 5% above it is considering as high data churn. Next comes the very important point, that is on the retention range of the recovery points. What is the retention range? It is the duration. Recovery points, the number backup point, that is the recovery points that you are taking day on day or week on week or whatever it is. What is the schedule that you have orchestrated? Let me explain you. I would like to retain for 30 days the daily recovery points. That means at any point of given time in the past I can go for 30 recovery points. The moment 31st day would come, whatever the first recovery point that was there out of this 30 would go off. So next 30 only would be retained. So the very statement fundamentally makes it understandable that at any point of given time I can go back into past only for 30 recovery points. That too, this is I am referring to daily recovery points. And in case if I would like to have some good number of weekly recovery points also to be retained, I can choose that. Here it is by default it is showing 6. If I need only 4 I can put it, or if I need something more than that I can put it. But remember, all of this would add cost to your backup solution. So for now I'm making it 0 for weekly recovery points, and for monthly recovery points, in case if you are thinking, okay, so as we have 12 months and then in a year span I would like to have monthly recovery points also, each one, and then would like to have 12, choice is yours. Or if you think no, anyway I have 30 recovery points, that's more than enough for me on a daily note, that's okay, means you can put this 0 yearly recovery points. So whichever you feel they are meaningful to your business needs and compliance regulatory standards that you have to abide by to run your business, you can choose. If you are not bound to any of those binding factors, maybe whichever it is economically viable and technologically it is solvable for you, in case any time the recovery is needed, decide and then take it up. Now coming to, I am trying to check what would be an approximate cost after 1 month or maybe after 1 year or at a steady state once it reaches some certain amount of data. So here it is showing only $0.64, and this is for this recovery points, and altogether the backup it is showing 5.64. So to make it easier for understanding, let me change this to Indian rupees, and here for a substantial calculation amount to be shown, let me take this to 200 GB. Okay, so now for this 200 GB to start with, and with 30 recovery points, after 1 year my data might have swollen up to 260 GB, and this is going to cost me 1000 rupees approximately monthly. So this is the approximate monthly cost that it is showing for an average 30-day the retention of recovery points with an LRS with a low daily churn. If I am going to say moderate churn is going to be there, then the cost is enhanced by increased by 200 rupees. Here you can see that, right? So the amount of data might get accumulated after first year could be around 380 GB, and that's the reason the cost also got a bit increased. So this is how the cost of Azure Backup would be appearing. Now we'll go to the demonstration. I'm taking you to the Azure Portal, and in this Azure Portal you will have to create a resource for the Recovery Service Vault. So for this I am selecting Recovery Services Vaults, and here already I have few of the Recovery Services Vaults. If you would like to create new, you will have to click on Add, and then choose the subscription resource group. For now I am selecting one of my existing resource group. If you would like to create new, you can click create new and then give that demo resource group is the name that I have given, and then vault name, it's asking me the vault name. This is a mandate field, demo recovery services vault. Location, so I would like to have this in maybe Central India. Say next. If you would like to give any name and value pairs tag wise, you can give it, otherwise click on review and create, and it is showing that this is the subscription, this is the resource group name, this is the vault name, and this is the region, and it's giving you hint here. Default backup configurations for storage replication type is set to geo redundant storage, the GRS. Default security settings for soft delete is also enabled. So that means it is saying that a note on this, and if you would like to change, please go ahead and change after creating the vault by going into the default vault properties. That is what it is saying, because these are going to enhance the cost also. So say create, and once the vault is going to get created, we'll have to remember that we have to go to the default vault properties and then change the properties also, right? Go to properties, yeah, this is GRS. I'm going to make it to LRS to save costs for now. At least my need is only in this, and in case the security, the soft delete is enabled. That means soft delete protects the backup data from accidental deletes, that it's going to retain for some more time, though it might appear for the users as deleted. So I'm going to disable this. That means it's going to have some more cost added for that retention. I don't want that to happen. For now, soft delete I am disabling. Save it, then go back. Okay, so now we have created the demo recovery service vault, right? And then if you would like to backup, you are going to say backup, and this is the place where now you see here it is set to LRS, it is showing. And if you would like to change, you can change it, but you would not be able to change it post the registration is what it is saying. I'm okay with that. And where is your workload running? Is it on Azure Stack, which is on-premise one, and then the on-premise itself without Azure Stack. So I'm selecting on-premise. What do you want to backup? Do you want to backup files and folders, or do you want to backup Hyper-V VMs, or maybe VMware VMs, or SQL Server, something like this? I'll just show you the difference also. What is required in which case? Files and folders, if I'm saying, then prepare infrastructure, it is asking me. It is saying that you just install the recovery service agent either onto the server or onto client, and then download the credentials, vault credentials, and schedule the backup. This is what it's saying. Same thing if I go back and set my backup goal as the Hyper-V VMs, then prepare infrastructure, you would see that it is saying that install MABS, that is Microsoft Azure Backup Server. Earlier it told me Microsoft Recovery Services agent when I said files and folders. So that means it is intelligent enough for you to recommend what is required. Okay, though this is Recovery Services agent. So in this case, I'm trying to backup files and folders. So I'm going to click on download agent for Windows Server or client. It's downloading, and once it gets downloaded, I would start installing it. So I have started installing the agent, Microsoft Azure Recovery Services agent, MABS agent, and I'm trying to select the D drive as the destination and then say next. Do you want to use proxy? I don't want, and then say next. And it's saying these are the components required and it's available. Say install. Okay, so Microsoft Azure Recovery Services agent installation has completed successfully. Okay, click proceed to registration to register this server to your backup vault. So it is asking me to register my server to the backup vault, right? Now I say proceed to registration. What is this? This is the second step here. The second step, if you observe, download vault credentials to register the server to the vault. Vault credentials will expire after 2 days. So it is prompting me to download. I'm downloading fresh. And this is getting downloaded. Okay. So now I go back here and then browse, go to downloads, and this is the one. Say OK, and you can see that it's been taken, and it's saying that you please generate password. This passphrase is very important. This is, even Microsoft also would not have it, and it is our responsibility to save it, keep it in a protected fashion. Okay, so I'm saying generate passphrase for me and enter a location to save the passphrase. I would save it somewhere, though it is not recommended. For now I'm saving it here. It's saying that you have selected a location where it can be easily compromised, but still I just would like to get on in the interest of time in this demonstration and moving ahead and registering this server with Microsoft Azure Backup Vault. That is nothing but the Recovery Services Vault now. Earlier, in case if you are with Azure since some time, it used to be called as Backup Vault. Now it is renamed, and all of your accounts might have got automatically upgraded to the Recovery Services Vault. So now it is registering this server in the sense here, this machine, the local system which I am using, server or workstation operating system, it's okay. That machine is going to get registered. Okay, so it shows that Microsoft Azure Backup is now available for this server. However, the passphrase locally where you have kept is not safe, is saying it. It's okay. I'm saying close now and then launch the Microsoft Azure Backup. So now I would schedule the backup. How do you schedule the backup? You can schedule the backup by clicking here. And in this screen, you are going to say next, add items. If you remember, I told some time back I would like to backup files and folders. So I would choose any one of the files or folders, whichever I would like. And for this demonstration purpose, I'm just selecting one of the PPTs here. It's a file. Just select it. Okay. Whether you would like to schedule a backup every day or every week, you can choose that. Every day, what time? Is it 8 p.m., 8 a.m., anything? Maximum 3 times in a day is allowed. That means if in case you would like to have at 8 a.m. once, and then 1 p.m. once, and then 8 p.m. one more time, you can have. Or you don't require this, only the other two you want, you can choose that. Or you don't want this also, remove this. You can have only one time, maybe 8 p.m. in the evening every day if you want. Say next. And then now, what are the daily retention recovery points that you require, and weekly, and then monthly and yearly? I just don't want any one of these for now, and this one for me 30 recovery points is enough for me, as we discussed in the Azure pricing calculator. And then say next, and then transfer over the network, yes. And in case if you would like to use the Azure Data Box disks, if you do not know what is Azure Data Box disk, stay tuned with my channel. I would be delivering one more video on what is this and then how does it work, in what way you can make use of it in India, all that. I'm doing an online transfer, select, and then say I'm saying every day 8 p.m. it has to go, and 30 recovery points for the retention days. Then say finish. And now this is creating a backup schedule policy for me. So it's saying that you have successfully created a backup schedule. Close this, and in case if you would like to get the backup done right now, you can say backup now. You need not wait for 8 p.m. also. And in this case, I'm just saying that you try to retain one day and then say backup now. Only for one day I'm saying. Retain the copy for one day and then select this and then say backup. And this is going to help me backup right now. That means though it is scheduled for 8 p.m. tonight, I'm in hurry, I'm getting it done manually. So you have a chance to override that to get the things done manually also, in case if it's needed. Otherwise you leave it, automatically it takes care at 8 p.m. every day. Okay, so now it says that backup is successfully completed and this much of amount of data compressed and includes metadata. Say close. So you can be assured that before it sends to Azure, it is compressed and then encrypted. So your data while in transit and while in rest is completely encrypted. So you can have all the information in the dashboard here itself. What is the scheduled time and how does it do, all that snapshots, you can have the complete detail. Okay. In case if you would like to recover the data, how does it would be? You recover the data and then say where do you want to recover. I would like to recover in the same server, say yes. And then you want to recover what? Is that individual files or folders? Individual files, say next. I am selecting D drive, and then which restore point you require. As you know that just now we have started this and only one recovery point is available. So this one particular point is available for me, which just now sometime back we have taken 3 minutes back, and you can mount the same. And once you mount this, it would be appearing in the disk drives there in the volumes in this PC. Do you see at the background it is showing that the recovery is in progress. Backup we did 3 minutes back, and now we are doing the recovery just after 3 minutes. And this recovery is nothing but the way that you mount it as a drive and then open the files and do copy, paste, download whatever it is required, and then unmount the drive volume. Okay, it says that it is volume is E, and okay, you see this is the E drive, and for this E drive this is the content. And now if you would like, I don't want to do anything with this for now. Okay, I'm coming back and then saying unmount. I don't want to do anything right now. So yes, recovery volume mounted as disk, browse the volume for file explorer to recover items, and now I have unmounted it. This job also completed. This is how you are going to do Azure backup. Okay, so hope this video and the demonstrations helpful for you in understanding what is Microsoft Azure Backup and what are all the types of backup available and what are all the backup components required and under what scenarios you can do all of this. I hope I was able to make it clear for you, and thanks for watching all your time and patience also. Hope this session was helpful. If you have liked the video, please do give a big thumbs up, do share, and then subscribe to the channel to stay tuned. Thank you. Good day. Bye bye.